let's talk about the pharmaceuticals. So what have you picked out?
That's right, Anna. So yesterday was all about the banks, but today is clearly a day for the pharmaceutical stocks. We've got three giants reporting today. We've got Novo Nordisk over in Denmark. We've also got Novartis from Switzerland and GlaxoSmithKline. And on the top line, it's looking like three beats. We're seeing Novo doing really well with one of their obesity drugs, which is really popular at the moment, flying off the shelves. Wegovy, it's called, and analysts saying that's a strong point from this report. Novartis, however, I'm actually seeing called slightly lower. Their net sales a bit of a miss, even as some of their heart failure and multiple sclerosis drugs doing pretty well for that Swiss giant. The other one, of course, Glaxo here in the UK, the big giant that we all know well. They're doing pretty well on their shingles vaccine. I'm just about able to remember getting that done when I was a child back in the dark ages. So they're still waiting for some key drugs to be approved, though, Glaxo. They need their iron deficiency drug to be approved, and one of their respiratory treatments, non-COVID, another one. They're waiting for that to get approval. Here's the charts on this stock 600 versus the healthcare index. We've seen the healthcare stocks outperforming over the past year, given those earnings are expected to be a bit more resilient during the recession, and that's clearly what we're seeing from these reports today.
Joe, you said it's all about pharma, but I'm stubborn and slow and still thinking about banks, so tell me about BBVA.
That's right, Mark. So BBVA moving over to one of my favourite parts of Spain, up in the Basque Country. So they are reporting a buyback of around 440 million euros. That's surely going to please investors this morning. That's much bigger than what was forecast. Their net interest income has jumped around 30%. The Spanish banks are really well exposed to the floating rate interest products. Obviously very good given interest rates coming up at the central banks. We saw Sabadell last week jumping after their reports. Tomorrow we've got Santander. It looks like another strong report from the Spanish lenders. The key risk, though, is the government in Spain is threatening a potential windfall tax. Yes. And there's potentials for loan loss provisions to come through, but that should be positive today.
Okay, now it fits very much with the on-screen persona that you have been cultivating, Joe, to have picked Entain to talk about. Tell us what's news here.
That's right, Anna. So Entain, the owner of Ladbrokes and Coral, as you mentioned, somewhere where I spend way too many Saturday afternoons, they are reporting a increased EBITDA guidance for the year ahead. Net gaming revenue up around 11%. This is coming on the back of the World Cup, of course. People punted around $65 billion on the World Cup. That was up almost 60%, according to analysts at Barclays. Given that World Cup was in the winter, people had a bit more spare time on their hands.
Joe, thank you very much. Speaking with personal experience, our equities reporter Joe Easton with a rundown of the stocks to watch.